culmination of teaching has been to get to this point where there's a functioning buy-in with the entire school. So it's not just one group that's doing it, like the club. It's seeing everyone involved has just been the culmination of my dream for education and students and teachers and community. So it's like the peak. It's like I feel like I've arrived as a teacher to see this. The whole school's involved, and I think that's the only way it will work as far as watering goes. You know, because it comes down to water. If students realized how real teachers want to be with what they're trying to pass on or facilitate or encourage, they'll be more excited and believe that the teachers really want to teach something that's relevant and that the kids care about. You know, so we're not all doing this fake dance, but we're really getting into the groove, you know, like it's for real. I didn't realize how creative the curriculum could be and how creative students are. I sort of thought I'd have to do what, you know, the man told me, and I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to work with the principal. I had a lot of authority issues, so I hesitated. And I see now the flexibility and the beauty of how broad education can be right now in this point in history. And I feel there's a place where I fit in. And also with social justice, I realized how much of the curriculum is focused on social justice and can be, right from K to 12. And then I knew I would find my place. Anti-racism and poverty and global education and environmental justice and, you know, status for women and ending racism, and that can be related, I think, to the garden in almost all aspects, like ethnic food or diversity, or what are gender roles in the garden. Well, there aren't any. We don't need to perpetuate any, you know? Like, it can be a really great social justice lesson in every one of those areas. So I do feel like I fit in now. When women come into womanhood, they have their menstrual garden herbs that they've gathered, or indigenous plants that they've grown themselves in the garden, or they can identify outside of the garden, and they bring into like those primary steps of permaculture where you just step outside the door and you can reach for something. They can reach for the nettle tea right over there. So when they're cramps come along and they're iron deficient, they've got all that iron and calcium in their nettles. Or the oat straw, they've got all that calcium. So they're becoming in touch with their menstrual cycle and reproduction and sexual health, just like that. I think bringing it back to ancestral cultural roots, that's what I'd like to see more education. We're indigenizing the curriculum now with the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and I'd love to see place-based learning and the Tanaha people, and being able to get the language for the Tanaha indigenous plants, and then know all the stories and the uses for the indigenous plants that grew here. I'd like that to be happening. Gratitude to the earth and recognition to the four directions, and bringing that in. So the more spiritual part would be neat to talk about that with students. You know, because spirituality is sort of a freaky place for teachers to go with students, and that doesn't need to be. Maybe there are teachers doing it all the time, but it could be a really neat place to develop more earth-based spirituality and practice. You know, and just teaching gratitude for the sun, the rain, and the earth, and the air that brought these plants up before we eat them, when we gather their seeds. So I think the big message is the gratitude for all the people that put the work into it and to the elements and creating that relationship.